Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today during our second day of the Women in Leadership IWC's second annual spring conference. We're very excited to have you joining us today. And we are going to kick off this morning with some lightning leadership conversations. We are waiting for one other panelist to join us, so I'm hopeful that Mila will hop on here shortly, but we are excited to have you joining us. We've got a whole day full of, not a whole day, we stop at 12:30 because we're busy ladies and we have things to do, but we are going to go ahead and get started this morning. And I'd like to welcome our panelists. We have Tiffany Woodman of Cannabis Lux. We have Rachel MacKinnon of PAVE, and we have Datrianna Meeks of Up in Smoke. My name is Gina Gault. I am a good morning, and we have Mila Johnson Perez this morning of Nopalito Delivery.
Nopalito, yes.
Nopalito's Delivery. Well, good morning, Mila. It's so nice to have you joining us. We have Datrianna on here with us, Tiffany Woodman, and Rachel MacKinnon. My name's Gina Gault. It's so nice to meet you and see everyone's faces again this morning. We are going to start these lightning conversations and allow everybody to introduce themselves. I'd love it if you'd share with everybody here this morning who you are, a brief history of how you got started and what brought you to the place that you're at now, and a little bit about the business that you represent. And we're going to go in alphabetical order because it makes it easy. So we'll start with you, Datrianna. And it wouldn't be a Zoom call without a few technical.
If I couldn't find the freaking thing. Okay. Hi, what am I doing? Introducing myself?
Yes.
I'm Datrianna. I am the creator of Up in Smoke, a cannabis community on Instagram, a newsletter about my thoughts on the cannabis space and my own personal life. And outside of that, I work in tech as a product designer, designing apps and websites for some companies you may or may not have heard of. That's how I pay the bills, but my Canna fund is my 5 to 9, I'd like to say. Nice to meet you all.
5 to 9, I love that. Good morning, Mila. Would you please introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. My name is Mila Johnson Perez. I am the CEO and founder of El Nopalito Delivery Service and Nopalito Creatives, Inc. Nopalito Delivery Service is an app that we just launched for mom and pop shops, only for mom and pop shops along the south and west side. Just like Datrianna, I have a tech and a cannabis side, and this is where the Nopalito Creatives Inc. comes in because it houses our Barrio Box, which is our cannabis accessories line for women of color cannabis users.
Rachel.
Hey everybody, my name is Rachel MacKinnon. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I like to say I have an activist heart and I wear many hats. I am currently the full-time director of promoting awareness victim empowerment, the social media manager for IWC, and an associate board member for Sarah Zinn, which is a domestic violence agency in Oak Park, Illinois. As a survivor and advocate, I believe in the power of expression, pleasure, community, and cannabis to heal trauma.
Love it. Good morning, Tiffany.
Good morning, everybody. I am Tiffany, she, her. I am the CEO and founder of Cannabis Lux, which I call a hybrid boutique, which is basically part boutique, part smoke shop, lifestyle gifts. It's cannabis inspired. And what I believe with our store is if I can buy ethically and support other BIPAC, LGBTQIA+, other small businesses, small business doesn't always mean great. So I always say, know my products, know my vendors. I'm on some of the IWC committees. I'm an Illinois Normal board member. I'm an animal rescue enthusiast. And really, I just believe in adding to the world every day. So Cannabis Lux, the Lux means lead with love, uplift others, and be extra. And really, I'm about sort of changing the lanes and really helping drive the narrative of cannabis and femme forward users and creating that lane in a different way from the get-go to really have ethics with it and to just have a really good creative self-care time. So it's really fun.
Great. I thank you for that. And thank you everybody for your introductions. I personally struggle with that very often. You guys killed it. So, for those of you that are joining us, if you have any questions, we'd love them in the chat box because we'll get to those towards the end. But we're going to go in the same order that we just did. And for individuals who might be joining and considering starting in their own business, taking the leap to entrepreneurship, what advice would you share with them to help them either get started, take the plunge, set themselves up for success? I am going to go ahead and say that if you're not already wearing many hats, you better get ready to switch them on and off because as everyone said, you have to be a little bit of a Swiss Army knife in your own space in order to make sure that your business is long lasting. But Datrianna, a piece of advice for somebody on the fence.
Just do it. Nike it. Just do it. Like you have to. I wanted to create Open Smoke probably for like 2 years, just like in the back of my head. And then I moved back to Chicago from New York, where it was like even more like of a possibility for me because of legalization. And I was like just doing some research, like, okay, has anybody done this? And there were like 2 Canna pages that like looked how I wanted my page to look. And I was like, okay, if they can do it, I can do it. But then I was like, oh no, like what if it's not as good as theirs? And like, you're never gonna know until you just do it. And then I did it. And I was like, now I'm like, this is cool. Challenge accomplished, pretty much. Like what's next? So you just kind of have to like take that plunge, whatever feels like a small first step, do that. If it's just like getting a domain or like getting your LLC or getting the Instagram, whatever that thing is that's gonna like help you check off a box to say like, okay, I did something, because you need that boost. Like you need those small wins to keep going, but you also need to have like a couple of tasks that you know will help you like get to a better space and start to make some traction.
I love that. Take the small wins, because in entrepreneurship, you need to be able to satisfy your to-do lists or what's going to fill your bucket to keep you going. So I think that's a really great one. Mila.
I'm going to say mentorship. Never be afraid to ask questions. And just like Datrianna said, keep going. There's going to be somebody doing canna butter. There's going to be somebody, as a culinary, area. There's going to be a person doing accessories, but nobody could do it the way that you can. Nobody can put that personality on it the way that you can. And especially if you're a woman, especially if you're a woman of color, especially if you identify as queer, we need you. So if you are faced with some type of stutter step or insecurity, just try your best to look past it and just keep on going. And Illinois women in cannabis is a wonderful pool of talent, of women who are just going at it. So never be afraid to ask questions either.
Yeah, and that bit about no one has what you have to offer, I think that's coming up a lot more. And you said we need you. If you're watching this right now, the whole world needs you. So keep on plugging away, because no one has what you have to offer, and it's the one thing that could make or break somebody's business if you're partnering with someone, or even your own business when you're ready to make that jump. So Mila, what encouraged you to take the leap and begin your business? What was the moment for you that you were like, yes, this is the sign that I needed to get going?
The first 2 signs were the fact that I didn't see a lot of Latinx reflected products. So for Barrio Box, I wanted to develop a way to break into cannabis, but it's really hard to break in, like going from novice to plant touching. It's very, very difficult, especially if you have to obtain a license, things of that nature. So it's very easy to enter in through accessories, through grinders, through slapping your logo on something. So I seen a need for representation. So then I came out with my smell-proof bags, and they are like, you know, culturally reflective. They look like those little spice bags that you'll find at the bodegas, and people loved them. They loved seeing themselves reflected in what I was partnering with other artists to kind of bring. For the delivery service, I noticed, I used to work in tech for a very long time. I worked for Uber, Venmo, things like that, as a data and risk and operations person. So again, wearing many hats. And I seen that those types of products weren't serving small mom and pop shops, especially during COVID. A lot of my favorite spots got shut down, especially because there wasn't any foot traffic. They, you know, were living paycheck to paycheck, and a lot of, you know, places just went under. So I developed an app where we're only housing those at-risk businesses and not charging them 30 to 40% of their bottom line, which can make or break a small business. Places like McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, Taco Bell, they can afford to pay those 30 to 40% commissions. But let's say La Haciendita or Pochos or one of your favorite spots, they cannot. It will literally eat up all of their profits. So I started my brands essentially solving a problem of visibility and functionality.
I love that. Solving problems is where businesses are conceptualized.
Yeah.
Rachel, how about for you?
I echo what Datrianna said about just do it, and also what Mila said about keep going. I think that taking that first step is always the hardest, and believing in yourself, shattering self-doubt, shattering this imposter syndrome that I think a lot of us have, that we're not good enough, that we can't do it, that negative self-talk in your head. I think that that's something that a lot of people have that kind of prevents them from taking that next step or from starting their business. I think we also start by networking. So obviously by being here today, taking that first step and networking with so many like-minded individuals in IWC, I think that I've really seen the power of networking, especially with, you know, joining IWC and networking groups. So I definitely believe in the power of connecting with like-minded individuals and uplifting one another along the way.
And Rachel, to kind of expand on ridding yourself of that self-doubt or that imposter syndrome, what are some resources that you've kind of found or clung on to, or maybe are reading, that have been helpful in, you know, freeing yourself of those, you know, maybe past traumas, or, you know, what we've kind of been baked to feel as women in a society, right? And that is changing. Luckily, like, here we all are, and there is space being made for us, and we're creating our own space. But perhaps you could share some resources that you find yourself referencing time and time again.
Definitely. So I think self-care is obviously so important. Shout out to Joint Conversations with Illinois Women in Cannabis. We did a conversation on self-care. So that's on Instagram. I know I'm IWC's social media manager as well. So really, I think following what feels good is something that I've really tried to implement in my life. So if something isn't serving you, if you're not feeling good about the work that you're doing, maybe switching it up in a way that does feel good and empowering. And also, I think just, you know, taking care of yourself in terms of like meditation, going on walks, you know, really doing what feels best for you. Everyone's self-care looks different. It's not all bubble baths and spa days and spending money for self-care, which I think has been this big push of kind of this capitalist mindset of, you know, really wanting people to spend money for self-care, which I don't believe in. I think it's more personal and it looks different for everyone. So yeah, I would say also therapy, if that works for you, that's always a really good thing. Talking about the things that are going on in your life, and also just talking with other people, having these real conversations and opening up.
I love that. Thank you. And Tiffany.
Okay, so what I would say, which yes to everyone's, what I would say is a couple really practical things. So one, everybody wants to break into cannabis, and we all know that. And everyone's like, I make this edible, I do this. And those are great things, but I think you have to define what your jobs are, what you have experience at, what you are really good at versus your passions, and see where they merge and see if you have that. So a lot of people ask me, when I opened Cannabis Lux, how did I do it? How I did it was really simple. I had tons of operations background, marketing, HR experience. So I didn't have to spend the money that a lot of people do to startup costs. So what I would tell people is, okay, if you have an idea and you think it's a really good idea, I would ask you, what makes your idea and what makes you different from other people? To Mila's point, your personality, that's what sells my store. My brand is me. I love what I do, right? And not everyone though is an extrovert and can do that. So what I would tell you to ask yourselves is, okay, one, what makes my idea different? In terms of, you can have the same product, but is it your branding? Is there something special you're doing? Because the truth is, it's really hard, and a lot of people go in with an idea, but they don't have their background, their research this. So to Rachel's point, networking. So, get your experience. If you're really interested in doing something and you're not sure how to make that leap, join the networking. Maybe take a part-time job or volunteer somewhere. Make mistakes on other people's dime. Honest to gosh, like I know that sounds crazy, but all the jobs I had and the experiences I had led me to do this. And so I have a very little startup cost. So I always want people to be really realistic as well as passionate, because having the idea is good, having the experience, making the connections, and then just really, like, to Datrianna's point, if you think you have an idea, get the LLC in the domain. Even if you don't start it for like 6 months, you had it, you created a date, you have your incorporation date, you're doing it. So I think it's a little bit of like, combine your passion with knowledge. See what you can do. Leaping into a business is no joke, right? And leaping in and not sort of having those steps, you can make a lot of really expensive mistakes, and people do prey on you. So stay with your networks, talk to people in IWC, talk to people on LinkedIn, and stay away from predatory behaviors. You don't need someone to necessarily do a trademark for you. The trademark attorneys are really awesome, right? So I would say, when you have your idea, also look for signs from the universe. Like, the universe will point you in good directions, whatever you believe in, God, the universe, however you do it, like, look for signs. Like, I know when I was opening the store, like, all these things would happen where I was like, oh my God, the universe really wants me to help this field and do it. Whether it was just, getting the space that I got, things like that. And the biggest thing too that I tell people, honestly, you guys, like, if you have an idea and you have a name, please not just look for it under an LLC. Go to the USPTO trademark service, look it up there. There are a lot of people that don't realize that. And so I think there's these awesome tools that we're all doing, are saying like, hey, right, like, ask questions. Don't always expect that everyone can give you. Entrepreneurs, as much as we all want to give our time, we wear, to Gina's point, which, by the way, Gina, that Swiss Army knife, love it. Love it. So we wear so many hats. So, take the leap when you feel that you can do it. Don't be afraid to do small steps, to Datrianna's point. Like, it doesn't have to be you quit your job and you just put all your passion in. Keep the day job, make your money, do it comfortably, and slow and steady can really win the race. So those are my sort of, sorry, so many tips, but like,
There's no room for sorry here.
yeah. Sorry, not sorry, Demi Lovato. Sorry, not sorry. I just think it's really a balance between having an idea, and we all get excited, but I know this is controversial, but it's not every idea is a great idea. And some of your ideas, I love making soap. Guess what, guys? My soap making business is probably going to be for my family and friends, because everyone on Etsy makes soap. But making a lane, developing an app, creating a community, doing these things, those are free items sometimes. Those are things you can do and make a difference with a really low cost. And you can also feel out your ideas, use IG, poll people, and, make your mistakes for free if you can.
Yeah, I mean, I think all these were just like So this is fantastic. Way to go, you guys. I think that there are so many points there. And I feel like, let's not make mistakes on other people's dime. Let's learn and provide value to a business while also taking those skills and moving forward.
Yes.
Just so you didn't,
Yeah.
IWC told me to learn, make mistakes on your dime. No, we did not.
No.
We told you to give very well to a business and do your best and learn along the way.
Yeah, sorry. Let me clarify. When I say you make mistakes on other people's time, it's sort of like when you do your job really well, like I always like made my mistakes, and not on other people's time, but like through your own experiences, like I learned. So like someone else was mentoring me to that point, and they'd be like, hey, maybe you made this mistake, but let me show you how to do it better. So I took all those experiences. So yes, don't make mistakes on other people's time. Learn from every job you have.
And so, those were all really great points. And what in your experience, what are some mistakes that you've made that you wish you would have avoided in the beginning? And how did those mistakes serve you, right? Someone said recently, and I wish I could remember who said it, they said to fail forward. So you make a mistake and then you move forward. And I hope I remember who said that so I can bring it up in a moment after everyone's. But Datrianna, a mistake that you made that, was maybe really difficult and you were able to overcome it and fail forward.
Every day on Instagram, I discover a new business that has some like trashy practices. And so I have made countless mistakes of like supporting brands that did not deserve my support, and then having to sort of like go back to my followers and say, hey, I actually don't stand for what these people stand for. Feel free to do your own research, but like, this is what I know, and this is why I make the decisions that I make. And that it never gets easier. It never feels better. Every time it's just like, I did not make this space racist. It was this way. And now I'm trying to like do the work of educating people so they can heal themselves, while also having a responsibility to like make sure that I do it in an ethical way that honors my community and the people who were in this space before me. And I don't take that lightly. And so I think that is the root of a lot of the things that I'm disappointed in myself about when I'm thinking about Up in Smoke and like what's next and how to keep it fun and all of that. Is like, gosh, there's so much social stuff here, and like, how do you really do justice by the people who deserve that while also trying to keep like so many of the good aspects of the plant alive? And I think I fumble with that often.
Yeah, and Datrianna, I'll say, as we were talking a bit ago about imposter syndrome, and that it doesn't always feel good. I think that some people are like, oh, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. It's going to satisfy all my needs, and I'm going to, move on and sit on the top of this great mountain. There's things about you need the right mindset. You need a lot of time. You're 5 to 9. Datrianna, I know I've seen you online at like midnight. How about 5 to midnight is more like it. So, knowing that there are mistakes where you support a brand and you go back and you're like, well, crap, like they are actually, their VP is some racist dude, and how do I undo that work and educate? And knowing that education is not necessarily your job, right? Your job is to create a newsletter that is helpful for others, and also being able to give parts of yourself. That is a struggle. How do you cope with that as an entrepreneur that has a 9 to 5 and then a 5 to midnight? How do you balance that for yourself?
If you read the newsletter yesterday, I'm not doing a great job of it. Honestly, like having a 9 to 5 is a whole beast in itself. And it does, like, you learn so much that you can like apply in your other thing. But yeah, balance, I'm just not great at it, to be honest. When I am trying to be better at it, to Rachel's point about like self-care, I'm like a fairly spiritual person. So I will like have readings done and try to set weekly intentions. And like when my routines and rituals are like in place, they really work. The problem is that when things get out of whack, those are the things we tend to let go of first. And so that's usually when my wife comes in and is like, what is happening here? This is cute that you want to like save the world, but like it's my job to be here trying to make sure you save you. And so that is usually what forces me to take a break, but yeah, I'm not good at breaks, actually. I'm about to take a 3-week break though in between jobs, and that's going to be great for just like baking in time to rest. And so that's one thing that I think I have. Sometimes I do it after the fact. It's like, oh, I haven't posted in a week. Maybe I should tell people I'm taking a break. Other times it's like I can plan for the break. And so I think baking in like rest and whatever self-care means for you into your creation process is what will allow you to keep creating. Like I am extremely burnt out. I don't know the last time I posted on my feed. I can barely get the newsletter done these days. Newsflash, I probably need a break, and I probably needed one 2 months ago so that I didn't feel how I feel today. So like bake those breaks in, y'all. As much as you write that to-do list for like what needs to happen to execute the vision, you also need to have rest in order to execute the vision. So that's all I got.
And it, add support to the top of your entrepreneur launch list. You need to make sure that you have support around you that and maybe that support is post-it notes on the mirror in your bathroom that say, hey self, have you done X, Y, and Z? Like if you don't have someone in your life to give you those reminders, it's you that reminds you that you need to take care of you. And Datrianna, kudos on the break. I look forward to seeing nothing on your feed except for some relaxation in the back of your mind. And I hope you have a really relaxing week. Rachel, some mistakes that helped you fail forward.
Definitely. I think one thing that's really hard, I think, especially as women, is like asserting boundaries for yourself and not letting people, if you're not feeling up to the task, saying no, asserting that, asserting things for yourself. Additionally, I think also kind of advocating for yourself and empowering other women and people in your space to advocate for themselves. I think I spent a lot of time really just like, obviously it's great to chase after things, and we have to as entrepreneurs to accomplish our goals, but also I love Datrianna's point of like taking a break. Like you need to take a break when you have to, and honoring that in and of yourself and making sure that you're taking space and time away so that you're not burning out and you can keep going forward is so important.
Absolutely. And the rest is real, and we're here to bring it to you. I think that having a community that aligns with your views and the realistic nature of humanity is also essential. So Mila, some of your fail forwards and what lessons they brought you and how they've allowed you to grow.
My fail forwards are, I'm pretty sure every entrepreneur can relate, but knowing when to go from operator to owner of your business. It's not my goal to operate them, right? It's not my goal as a CEO or a founder to be doing the marketing and the operations and the tech and the customer service, and it's a lot for one person to sustain for a very long time. So I would say that my fail forward was I should have probably had maybe 2 other people on my team, especially because I rolled out all of my projects along the same time. But with that, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about marketing. It pushed me to learn a lot about myself. It pushed me to do a lot of inner work in therapy. Rachel's right. Self-care doesn't look the same to everyone. Mine is very much, weed, therapy, a good book, meditation, having my whiteboard as soon as I wake up. Mila, these are your to-dos for the day. These are your intentions. These are your affirmations. These are the things that you want to accomplish within the year, within three like months. I have one in my bedroom, one in my kitchen, and one in each office space. And I'm pretty sure Amor has seen my whiteboard at 2112, but it's definitely super important to remain focused. And Datrianna is very, very right. Like once we start getting stressed and like overworked. Our self-care, our affirmations are the easiest to go if they're not in front of us. So we need to find a way to be like, hey, therapy at 1 is my workout. That's as serious as me eating. It's as serious as me tying my shoes so that I don't fall. Like, there are certain things that we need to start putting at the forefront of our personal care, in order for us to be of service for ourselves and our communities. So that was my fail forward moment. Many nervous breakdowns later.
And Mila,
Yes.
it takes somebody very ambitious to launch consecutive businesses at the same time. What back to Tiffany's point, where you maybe look for signs from the universe, like what was a point for you that was like, these 3 things will operate and happen together, and yes, I might fail, and I should have brought on 2 people sooner to help me to manage all these things, but what were the signs that yes, these opportunities all at once were the right ones to take on and move forward with?
I knew that with the projects that I took time to, and that's the thing, like, speaking back to Tiffany's point, I definitely took the time to think about them first. Like, I didn't just say, hey, I want to do this and boom, I'm going to launch it like that. Like, putting thousands into an app for development, for marketing, things of that nature. Like, that's not a decision to be taken lightly. So with great ambition comes, you have to be really mindful of where you're channeling it, because I'm very much the type that'll just go, and I will be Hulk, and I will be breaking through every walls, no matter how much it kind of, hurts. But being able to just like kind of think about it first, like, hey, I got to be a little bit more strategic about my next release. But I have a strong social justice mission. Even now, I'm at Healthy Hood, which is where I do all of my customer service. I head their Dispensary team, which is our food pantry, and my delivery service also does their deliveries to impacted families for free. Having a strong social justice mission, if fail proofs your business. I am literally here to help. That's it. If my community is good, I am good. I am nothing without my team. I am nothing without my community. I am nothing without the people that I serve. I am nothing without the people who are buying my product. And the more business owners and the more entrepreneurs, the more that we collab with local thought leaders, local community activists, the more our businesses will fuse and we will all become vested in each other's success. So that is my underlying mission. That is why I cannot fail, but I will only fail forward.
I love that. And thank you for sharing. I think that for individuals who are interested in becoming entrepreneurs and creating businesses, answering the question of how can I help before how can I be a millionaire, how can I make millions of money, if you can figure out how you can help and serve and be an active participant, I think that shares with the universe or your God or what have you, that you're ready to participate in the future of society and build a better future, which is what really entrepreneurs can take the ownership of doing.
Yeah, that's it.
Tiffany, a fail forward, a struggle, something that helped you after it was done hurting you.
Okay, so I definitely will say, I know the fail forward's a thing. I don't really look at failures. I don't really believe in failures because I think if you learn, it's not a failure. I don't see failures because for me, the universe is like giving me a lesson. So I look at everything as a lesson of what can I learn from this and how did I need this lesson? So I look at a lot of things as lessons personally. And what I'm going to tell you guys, it's not business stuff that I feel that. It's my heart is that I think we have to protect our, listen, Mila just said it. I think, and you just said it too, Gina, for one, a true entrepreneur, most of us that do it, when you want to succeed is because you want to add good to the world. You're not thinking of money. The people who have the money game, you know, it's a really different grind, and you're probably not going to do half the things of all the advice we're all telling you, because we're all coming with heart and with passion to help. So I think the hardest part for me, you guys, the lessons I've learned are honestly like putting my, like, getting excited about meeting someone, or maybe thinking someone has the same passion to Datrianna's point, and like then realizing, whoa, this was not what I thought I signed up for. And so what I've had to do is learn how to kind of gracefully get myself out of situations that I was like, oh my God, like, what did I do? Or like, I literally spent $1,000 on someone's like product because I wanted to help them. And later I was like, why did I do that? I just spent money I maybe didn't have for the business because I really wanted to help this person. But realizing that they weren't necessarily like, it just did not work. So I was like, okay, so I've made some money mistakes because of my heart, but I've learned sort of like, don't leap. Like, as much as we get excited and passionate, stay calm. Be like, okay, how does this align with my business? The one thing I will tell you guys that I've learned from the very get-go to do, and I really advise this to anyone, my business does not come before my personal life. It does not come before my marriage, my dogs, my family, my friends. That means when I come home, I cut off. Is that the smartest business move? No. I could grind all day. I could, right? It's not for me. To everyone's point, my self-care is spending time with my dogs. It's reading a book. It is bubble baths. It is hardcore bubble baths. It is like, I like the candles. I do a bubble bath routine, but it's what I've learned is when I don't, you know, and I really will tell you guys, I know when I'm tapped, listen to yourself when you're tapped. Don't feel bad about it. Like, I acknowledge to people, like the week before I took a vacation in the store, I told everyone, I was like, guys, I'm a little sour. I'm not myself. I'm not like, you know, and I had to accept it. But I think, you know, to your point, the mistakes that I've made are really like my heart. So I will tell you guys, we all have these big hearts. Protect your hearts. Protect that and know that we do want to help everybody. We are doing it for the right reasons. We can't help everyone, but we can, if we focus and we say, whose lane am I trying to help? Where is the group? Someone, I promise you, is probably helping everyone. So if we take our groups and we help, I mean, I have to give a shout out, honestly, to Datrianna, because one day I cried on Instagram, guys. There I was, and I didn't know that I needed it. I was so tapped. I was about to go see my family. I had to make this appointment because I was crying on Instagram to you all. And I was like, and it was so therapeutic. It was so wonderful. Datrianna reached out to me. She was like, I felt not alone when I had her reach out to me and be like, girl, I cried today too. So, you know, the mistakes that I'll tell you guys, don't hide your feelings. You are real people. We are all real people. If somebody cannot understand that and we have to hold up this facade that we're business owners and not real people, business owners cry. We cry, we break down, we buy the wrong product, we order too much inventory of what we don't know we need, we make mistakes with vendors, we do all of these things. So what I do going forward is I don't hide it. I'm like, I'm having, you know, a rough day, guys, or I eat in the store sometimes. Holy smokes, I eat. People are going to know that I eat. Right. But I think what I've learned from these mistakes and these experiences is just be yourself authentically, have respect, be kind. And then it's not a fail if you learn from it. It's not a fail. And like Jolene said, pivot. Like, if something doesn't work out, okay, pivot. The universe didn't want it. What's the next thing? How do I turn it into a win? Right, me eating, right? But the truth is, entrepreneurs, we eat, we have families, we're allowed to turn off. I just give myself the grace to say, sometimes you can't post every day. You know what, Tiffany? Get an iPad, get yourself organized, learn how to make tools and tricks that are easier for you. And just, I think we need to change the lane that there's no struggle and we're doing it right now, I think, and we're changing those lanes. We're saying we're entrepreneurs and we struggle and we have real lives, and guess what? This is who we are, and that transparency is what's going to help us make this okay for the next entrepreneur. We are currently changing the lanes for the next entrepreneurs to say, guys, you don't, to someone's point over here who was talking about the rise and grind, like the grind, who is that? Yes, LM, like this grind, hustle and grind. No, it's not mental health safe. It's called add good to the world, take time for yourself. There's no need to work 24 hours a day, and putting like Datrianna, never feel the pressure from the rest of us because we love you, girl. And when you post and when all of us do it, to Mila's point, like we accept it. And if someone's setting unrealistic expectations for us and what we need to do on social media, sorry, I'm not a TikToker like that, and love ourselves. So,
I love, there's so many great nuggets there. I think, you know, to your point, when you get excited, I think really the theme of today is like knowing when to pause and like self-reflect and like check in on what you need. Call to all coming entrepreneurs, like self-care is the name of the hustle from now on.
Yeah.
Like the hustle is making sure you're taken care of. And, you know, one of the things, Tiffany, to your point, you know, there are times where you're going to have to go 110 miles an hour. I like liken it to a car, right? You put a fresh tank of gas in and you got to get going. But when you're on empty, it's time to find a filling station and fill up. So recognizing, I think, for entrepreneurs, when it's time to go 110 miles an hour and when it's time to stop and get a tune-up and take care of yourself, I think are all really important points.
I will say one thing, Gina.
Yes.
You guys, I want to tell you how important it is when you said that. I literally closed my store for a week, knew that I was not going to have income because I needed to see my family. So don't be afraid. And you know what? The next week I had great sales that really helped make up for it because the universe provides. So literally do not be afraid to hard stop. Like I hard stopped the store. I closed it. I flew. I saw my family. I didn't work for a week. And guess what? Everything survived. It was great and I thrived. So don't be afraid.
Yeah, I think that's a really important part. Like when we operate out of fear and we're afraid of what's going to happen or what people are going to think of us, it just doesn't really serve you because fear is not a place of service. When we think about how is this going to help us, how is this going to nurture us, how is this going to speak to our communities, that's really when we're able to thrive and move forward. We have about 20 minutes left, which sounds like a lot of time, but it's really not because we're with it with our comments this morning. So I'm gonna like double fold these questions and then we'll get to, we have one viewer question. And so what are your 2021 and beyond goals? And if you would, what is a resource, maybe a book or an article or an online tool that has been essential for you? So 2021 goals and an online resource or book or tool that you've really found helpful. Datrianna.
Okay, I didn't set a ton of goals this year, but I think one goal that spanned across both my professional work and my Canna work is, not that my Canna work is unprofessional, but whatever, my job and my other job.
Your career and your passion?
Yes. Is that I wanted to be a better storyteller because it is something that I do, like as a designer, I storytell and like make things make sense for people visually and in writing. Up in Smoke is pretty much the same thing. And so I just wanted to get better at that and not necessarily pigeonhole myself into like one specific kind of work, but I want to start a podcast this year. I will continue to do more writing. Maybe at some point I'll post on Up in Smoke again. And so it's really just like making sure that I'm using my voice in the arenas that I want to be in and like moving into. So that's like my number one thing, because that kind of trickles into all the stuff that I do. And it keeps me focused on like separate from cannabis and separate from design, like what am I excited about? And I just love storytelling and writing, like words are my thing. And so that was my goal. And then as far as resources, one sort of like very tactical resource for just like learning Instagram and how to beat the algorithm, which is not a thing you can do, but you can try hard, which I do sometimes, is Later, which is a like a post scheduling tool, but they have like this blog, and the blog pretty much like breaks down all these new features on Instagram, how you can use them, like gives you ideas for ways to like try out reels and all this stuff. It's like when you're least inspired, but you're in the thick of things and like you are being consistent, sometimes the thing you need to unblock you is just like someone else to give you the idea and you not need to come up with something on your own. And so Later is good for that because they'll just have like a bunch of random ideas for like how to use one feature or whatever for your brand. And then going a step further, They do like a lot of sort of strategy work if you're trying to come up with like a social media strategy or like a brand strategy for something new that you're starting. I just find that it's like very helpful. They've like amassed a bunch of resources from across the internet, so you don't have to go reading a bunch of stuff, and it's just really helpful for knowing like whatever your preferred platform is, be it Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, there's a source out there that probably can tell you how to use it better. And that's just been helpful for reaching more people and having my content go further.
I love that. I'm gonna look up later. Thank you, Datrianna.
One other thing that I had
Yeah.
to do is just reach out to people that I want to work with. I did not write professionally much before I got into this space. And then I just like knew a person who knew a person that worked at Weed Maps and Leafly. And I was like, I deserve to write for these people. So we're going to make it happen. And I just like DM'd them on Instagram. Weed Maps happened really fast. Leafly was a slow burn. It took me like 6 months to get somebody there. And then when I finally did, it's so funny. Last week, another editor from there DM'd me. And I'm like, I did all this work looking for y'all. And then somebody found me after I found them. So like, I would say like you are your biggest resource. Like get creative with how you get the stuff that you want. No one is like gonna hand it to you, but once they find you, they'll be excited that you're there and like can do the thing that so many other people can't do.
Yeah, I love that. You are your greatest resource. That is remarkably accurate. And I think that it is a, like you didn't give up. It took you how long to get Leafly to get back to you, but at the end of the day, you are the one who you did it for yourself by sticking with it and keeping after it, and that's huge. That's really massive. So way to go. And they found you because you had been asking for it, but you were so ambitious you got it ahead of time. It just gives you more opportunity. Rachel.
I think my main goal for 2021 is really just to keep learning and growing. So keeping growing on trends on social media. I love Datrianna's piece to that of, keeping up on the trends, learning new functions of Instagram and being able to push your brand out farther through social media and things like that. Also just brand awareness, figuring out how to market my brand better, being more candid, honest, real. I think that that's something that people notice when you are candid with your brand. Additionally, I think this collaboration and network piece is so important. So making sure I'm bringing others into the fold, collaborating with everyone that I can, just because, and obviously vetting people I'm collaborating with too. I heard a piece of that earlier of not wanting to obviously collaborate with brands who are problematic, things like that. But also uplifting people who are doing amazing work and being able to celebrate together, I think is, just kind of a great thing to do in this space, being able to bring more people into the fold. Additionally, in the piece of learning and growing, I do have a book recommendation by Adrienne Marie Brown, Pleasure Activism. I've read this book and it's just like, I feel that, especially in the cannabis space and just in general, like we need to be doing things to make us feel good. There are so many things in the world that are going to tear us down. And the more that we can be our own advocates for our own pleasure, our own happiness, I think, the more it will serve us professionally and personally.
I love that. That book literally just popped up on, like, I was doing some research yesterday and that book popped up. So the universe is like, Gina, you got to go grab this book because it's come out twice in like the last 8 hours, which is a little bit wild because I actually have a really hard time reading with books. Like it tends to take me a very long time. And so, yeah, the fact that I was looking for books, that one popped up and you're talking about it. I need to get that. Would you repeat the name of the author once more?
Yeah, Adrienne Marie Brown. And I also think, Gina, to your point about kind of taking these signs from the universe, I know Tiffany mentioned that earlier too, of, if things are jumping out at you, things are coming up more than once in your life, like pay attention to those signs and follow them too. I am spiritual. I know that that's, I don't necessarily subscribe to religion, but just kind of, keeping that in mind of listening to the universe and the signs that it's telling you as well.
Love it. I'm going to drop that book recommendation into the chat, and I'm going to recommend that if you're in the Chicago area, you check out Semicolon. and you can order your book online from them, and it will get to you just as quick as one of the big box delivery groups, and support a small business, and a Black-owned small business at that. Mila, your goal for 2021 and a tool that you'd care to share.
My goal for 2021, I have a couple. So for the app, I want to have at least 20 merchants by the end of the year. I want to launch our digital divide course, which is also going to be coupled with our app, which helps, older Spanish speaking business owners cross over and learn more about tech and how to use their phones or their iPads, for something more than just Facebook, because it's really obvious that we all know how to use, the social media, but a lot of these business owners don't really know how to empower themselves and use their own devices to take their businesses to the next level and fight that digital divide. So that's a big goal of mine, and it should be, here by August. A book recommendation is Leapfrog. I forgot her name, and I am so sorry about it, but that book completely changed my life. It's unapologetically feminine. It's every chapter discusses a lesson on how to launch your business, how to be unapologetically just badass and go after everything in your goals, in your goal list, and little tips and tricks on how to, scale. And I would say another tool is definitely automation. I'm not a social media person, and I know that that's probably bad to say. You really don't know much about me by my social media presence, because it is pretty much just for work. So if you talk to me in person, you will get somebody not so different, but you will get a little bit more personality. And I do want to show that on my social media, I'm not just all about work, I'm actually a person too. So I took some advice from a mentor. His name is Eli. Shout out to Self Hype, because that was my second round of advice. Link up with courses, link up with mentors who are doing those courses. I took a marketing and business course, and it changed the way that I look at social media moving forward. Just the different interactions versus reels versus stories versus TikTok. There are different methods on how to post. So Loomly is a really great tool. Yes, you have to pay monthly, but it is worth it. You can post, you can plan out your whole entire month. And that's another goal, just to completely automate all business post moving forward for within 14-day blocks at a time.
And Mila, I think to your point, it is absolutely acceptable and helpful to invest in things that are going to help you do the things that need Mila's touch. Those are the automated parts, and the investment in time for yourself is worth it.
Yeah. And, I took some time to realize my limits. As great as we are, and as much as we want to focus on the things that make us great and wonderful, like our personality, our ambition, it's really important to realize, I have a really short fuse when it comes to social interactions. I have extreme anxiety. Maybe I need somebody to maybe work a table at an event. Maybe I cannot be there because of my time. Maybe I cannot do this, but just realizing what your limits are and how to put people in those places so that your business succeeds. Because once we start letting ego, no, I should be able to do this, I should be able to do this, or you're saying yes way too much and overflowing, that can lead to a really big problem of overpromising and under-delivering. And, just being honest with yourself could take will take you miles.
I love that. Recognizing your limits, saying no, those are all, talk about real tools. Those are definitely real tools, life tools for sure.
Yep.
Thank you, Mila. Tiffany, 2021 goals and a tool or a resource that you're found helpful.
Oh, wow. 2021. Well, my goals are always add good to the world this year. So, okay, a few things. I am definitely ambitious, but I feel like a lot of my projects have synergy. So as Gina knows, I'm launching a podcast called High Potential. So look for that, which is basically how do you use cannabis or CBD to add good to the world and spark joy in joints. So it's a really simple, like I'm asking everybody the same questions, and it's really just about the positivity of cannabis in our life and how it's affected us. So that's an easy one, and that's really fun. I am also looking forward to doing more events, obviously with COVID, but honestly, I do such small events, and my events are about closeness in the terms of like how many people. I'm not into doing big events. It's about the boutique experience. So launching my Lux Lounge, which I wanted to do before COVID, which is sort of like a weekly gathering for femme forward people in the store, private events, whether it's tarot card readings, talking about terpenes, cooking, anything. Just a community-based thing where we all have a spot. I'm hosting Trans Run Chicago, which is a new group for trans families and trans members of the community who want to have a safer place to maybe do physical activity like running and walking. And they'll be identifying stops along the way in some of the neighborhoods and working with them. My other also goals are launching some of my own personal merchandise and items that people want, again, ethically sourced. And really, I think I have so many goals. I always say this. My ultimate goal is to offer like one day, like a wellness spa sort of thing where it's like, and when I say wellness, I mean, maybe you're reading comic books, watching TV and smoking. Maybe you're by a pool, maybe you're getting a manicure. I don't know. It's an idea of that. But really the big goal is just to continue to make the connections, figure out how I can partner fairly. And for me, it's the inclusivity. So it's really just continuing to be inclusive with different groups. My biggest goal is to be able to give back more monetarily. I do it already with the space. And I think everyone has to remember, you can't always give money. A new entrepreneur, we can't always say, I'm giving 10% of my cost somewhere. But guess what? If I can offer a nonprofit my space, if I can offer them social media voice, if I can use the tools that I have to help use awareness, that's good enough. You know, money will come, and that's my real goal is to, offer the money. But it's about that. And I'm going to tell you guys, like, Canva, 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 everybody knows it. Game recognizes game. We're all using Canva. It's the easiest, best app for all of us to use social media. Let's not hide it. Let's share it proudly. Yes, Canva. So that's the tool I use personally. Planoly, it's Planoly. And that's what I schedule my posts with. I like it because I can just visually see it. It's pretty. It has templates. It's whatever. It just looks pretty, and I bought it. But I think, yeah, like I will tell you guys, I'm so excited. And I'm watching the time. I'm just so excited to offer more femme forward stuff to the community. And I will say, as we talk about women, I include anyone who's femme forward. And I think that's the most important thing is like IWC, we're so inclusive. And yeah, just adding more good to the world, you guys. Not rescuing another dog, though. I have 5 rescue dogs, so I will not be rescuing. I will just be pushing to volunteer everyone.
I love that. Yeah, don't get any more dogs if you don't need to. But if you do, then you do, and you do. So there's that. Well, ladies, I cannot thank you enough for your time. This has been so fulfilling. My bucket is absolutely filled, and I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm just going to ask if everyone wants to share how our viewers can get a hold of you really quickly. If you care to share, if you care to be accessible, that would be great. You can just drop it in the chat. If you've been considering taking entrepreneurship to the next level, let this be kind of your sign from the universe that it's time to take that leap. I hope you'll take all of this insight with you. I can't thank you enough for this lightning talk and connected opportunities for entrepreneurs. Thank you, Mila. Thank you, Datrianna. Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you, Rachel. Your time is so valuable and I appreciate it. For all of our attendees, we'll be back at 9:15 with the opening remarks from Danielle Perry. And, grab yourself a water, take a stretch, do some meditation, eat something, take this little bit of time back and get yourself going on the right way. And I look forward to staying connected with all of you wonderful women. And I hope you have an excellent rest of your day and your week. And we'll catch everybody in about 15 minutes.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Datrianna.
Thank you guys. I had a wonderful time.
Thank you, Mila.
Thank you guys. This was literally awesome. All the comments were awesome, and just this is everyone. I hope you have the best day because I know I'm going to. So
I love Tiffany so much. Her energy is just infectious, and I
it
need
really
it.
is.
This is what you guys get in this store. And the one last entrepreneur tip I'll tell you guys, just be yourself, because I cannot waste any time not being myself, because I will just
Same.
be yourself. Like, don't be afraid to
not
go
to.
crazy. People love you're crazy, because the idea of this imposter syndrome is like, we're all
Crazy.
imposters, because who feels like they're the real deal? If somebody can find me one person, even
You,
J-Lo,
Tiffany,
I'm like,
you
I'm
are
the real deal.
That's what
You're
I'm
the
saying.
real
No,
deal.
what I'm saying though is like
I'm the
we are
real
the real deal. Like this idea that there's somebody who's like, I'm the real and you're all imposters. No, we're the real deal. Every one of us. J-Lo still gets worried about stuff. Okay, it doesn't matter how many people love you, and love you that don't know you. We're the real deal, guys. It's us.
Yes.
You're
Period. I love this.
Like,
I am
Keep
so
that
full.
energy. Yes.
You guys have fed my spirit. I am so blessed. Thank you guys so much. I have to hop off and get back to our food pantry, but you know what? Please get in contact. DM me, call me, whatever.
Thank you, Mila, for your
Yay.
time.
See you guys.
See ya.
Yeah.
All right, ladies. Have a great rest of your day.
too.
Tiffany, thank
too.
you. Datrianna, thank you. Rachel, thank you.
Bye, Gina. Thank you. Thank you, everyone,
Bye.
for watching too.
Yes, thanks, everybody.